Hello everyone, I thought I'd make this just to show something off, really. I just thought this would be an interesting video because I haven't made one of these in a while, like where I've just sort of, you know, gone over like the tools that I use and stuff, and how I make music. And I haven't made one of these in a while, I don't think. It's been over a year, I think, I've done that. I don't know, people sometimes are interested in how I make music, and only recently I've updated my sort of way to make music in a sense. I still use this crappy DAW. I wish I used another, to be honest, but yeah, it's the cheapest one I could find, I think, other than the free version. But the free versions sometimes don't offer what I need. Like for example, Flex. I do sort of need that as a thing because it's one of my instruments. It can be a few of them actually. Yeah, there's like different complications and also learning the entire interface. As far as I know, FL Studio is the most accessible one. Like for example, in some softwares, the doors even you just can't even hear the sound to begin with, even with it set up properly. So yeah, anyway, let's go on with the tutorial. I don't know where to start. Maybe the obvious here. Let's start with patterns. Don't need that. Obviously on the left here I've got patterns. That one hasn't got anything on it. But interesting fact about this. I needed patterns to make the instruments work. So there's different techniques for the instruments I use. Also, I don't play them because I fucking suck. I've tried before. It's impossible. But all of these have different sort of automations and basically ways to make them sound different, in a sense, or to make them sound realistic. And I utilise that to the best of my abilities. And with the guitar instruments, there's always techniques on the what's it called? Just key presses. I think it is. So like I've got one for snap bass here. I go into the pattern here. I play a tune. Yeah, it works nice. And if I wanted to, I could shorten that and I can turn some of it into a pop. Actually, why don't I just turn that one into a pop? Yeah, it sounds weird because of a weird issue. I don't know what's causing it. It's a bug with FL Studio, I think. But I've got frets here, which I'll go into later. I've got frets for both the basses because I have it double tracked and panned. That sounds better. So I'll do that for all the instruments I have. And to briefly address this, I have a sorting system. This helps me organise things, so if I notice something's off about the instrument, scroll down, change it, and also get them in line like this. This is really helpful. And I also put my techniques down there as well. And I just need to double click it to shorten it again. It's really handy. These are things I've picked up from FL Studio, just to be clear. So that's bass. It's pretty self-explanatory. Leads, screeching thing is a random effect. It's nothing special. Actually, yeah, it just plays my default. Slide lead, I put on this big slide, that's it. Tapping, just tapping. And I'm tapping for the other two leads. Rhythms, I have sustain, and this is an interesting one because my rhythms are left and right panned. This way I can have more freedom of like editing it so I can have harmonies. But sustain is pretty self-explanatory, it needs it on by default, and I think I will use that moving forward. Choke, I actually experimented with all this, and some of it works and some of it doesn't. Choke is just a random sound, I believe. You need a note. But I think it's a fret mute, technically speaking. Don't delete that. Tapping, self-explanatory, harmonics. just the harmonic stuff. If you want to play things, just harmonic. FX fix slides. I don't know what this does actually. These two are a bit odd, and this one as well. But the slides works weirdly. I need to sustain again because it bugs out. I won't put these on the same pattern when I'm actually making the music. It's just placeholder. It just works weirdly, and even if I shorten it, I'll just do it for both. Actually no, I just need to do it for one, the one there. Because I want it to slide to that, but it just resets, so it's weird, and at that point it's better to use pitch shift. So just some weird errors with these fucking softwares or something. I don't know. But that's that though. Now we get on to automations. I have all of this sorted. I'm very sort of organised because I'm OCD, and I have different ones. For lead, I have vibrato, doubling, attack, downpicking, and tension. Tension is something I'm confused about, but it seems to make it sound better when it's higher. Like more sound. I reckon you could probably compare that actually, and also these random values, just random. There's nothing really special about them. Just try and make a quick lead thing. Show off my skills. I don't have any actually. What pattern did I even put that in? Sustain chorus. Why did I do that? Yeah, I haven't duplicated that, that's why it sounds a bit odd. It just feels a bit more fuller with the 100% attention. My next lead is not anything special. Did I forget to add things? I did that for leads #1, which basically is the extra lead. That's what it is. Lead 2 is the harmony. That's why it doesn't have as many frets, but lead #1 is quite important for like swing riffs and stuff, like my recent DM Takura cover. That bass, self-explanatory. I really need automations for them. For rhythms, I did something different. I did a random pattern for the extra attack. Just does different things. Why did I put the frets in there? I was still not used to the interface, to be honest. There's still a lot of quirks with this stuff. Don't understand really why some of it's so quirky. Yeah, the rhythm attack though is quite interesting because it just makes it sound more realistic, like a double-tracked guitar should be. That's pretty much the whole purpose of this, actually. If I use it. I'll try to edit this as best as I can, show you a sample. So make it chuggy or something. That's what rhythms are made for. And I need to put the sustain on it to fix it. Where's it bugged out? I don't know what's happened there. And see on. That's missing that, that's why. And I do this with VST when I make music, because it just adds some variation. It's just a random riff, it's nothing special, but it showcases the difference in the attack and bite, which I find just adds a realistic touch. Also, I can show you just the harmony stuff I do. Yeah, I'll go into the mixing later, but the guitar is a bit quieter because I mainly use it for like a higher harmony. something like this. Well, it's not harmonic, it's dissonant. So it just sounds better like that. That's rhythms. Clean chorus. It's basically another rhythm, but for clean chorus. I have to make sure I don't save this actually. To avoid panicking. Synth sustain. This one's interesting. I tend not to use it, to be honest, because it's only good in niche situations where you want like a fade in, like these parts where there's a ramp. Increase that. The ramps basically help with making a fade in sound, but these bits here just don't work, and I just end up using like a static range for it. It doesn't make too much difference to the song, to be honest, or whatever it is I'm doing. See if I can get it working. Other than that, I can. Do a random pattern. Yeah, it does sort of bug out a bit. I think it's because of the dynamics. I'll try that. It's happened before. For some reason, only the left one isn't working. I mean, the right one's working. I don't know what's causing that, to be honest. I will investigate it now. I found the issue. It's just the panning on the mixer. Yeah, I could try this. It just does a fade-in effect. Yeah, it's quite useful sometimes. I tend to use the volume when I want to change the volume. It's just has a nice effect every now and then. It's something I don't really use. There's a staccato version I don't do much on. I tend not to use the key change bit for it because sometimes I want both happening at once. I just want something like this, probably. Space it out a bit. I'll probably do it octave higher. Again, quirkiness. Yeah, I forgot I have the same thing happening there, but I tend to eliminate that. Have it like this. Why isn't that working? Fuck's sake. It's working before. Right, so it's because I had the velocity too low. It allows like it to sort of punch in and out, like it's almost swing. It just works in a sense. The rest of my synth instruments are the same here. Got a similar thing going on. I tend not to use the other bits. I tend to use either the flat bits or the bumpy bits. The bumpy bit's a bit harder to use in a synth sustain sense. Yeah, that's all the automations. I think that's all I'm going to do for the moment for that though. What do I show next? I guess I could go through the instruments for the mixer. So these are just all the instruments I use. I have a bass clean because sometimes the gritty sound is a bit too much, especially during like a section where it's sort of calmish. I don't know how to describe it, like euphoric, I guess. Don't really want a gritty bass sound for that. Yeah, I guess I could go through what I use for each. I use heavier 7 strings for lead. I use HeavierFX and Shreddage. HeavierFX is a thing that's with heavier 7 strings, but I use a different instrument for this because 7 strings is only 7 strings. How do you get this note then? Don't play. Yeah, that note. You get that by using an 8 string. I did the same for clean chorus because it's a rhythm. I use UmanskyBass. Yeah, UmanskyBass as the bass. I use 2 different tones. I use a heavy for this one. I've also changed it in the mixer a bit. I think that's all for the guitars. Oh, we've got ones later on. I'll go through those later. For the synth, I use Nucleus Lite, Nucleus Orchestra Lite. It's got different patches and stuff. I tend to use the multi-patches because it's just better sounding. I haven't used the Eternal stuff yet. It's crashed. Nice. Thanks. Kontakt. It's fucking awful. Kontakt for some reason is buggy like that. If I close it now, it's gonna crash. Oh, okay. That's lucky. Usually does that when I edit in Kontakt and then exit out. Next is bells. This one's interesting because I got it from the Toho sound fonts, the Toho, if you say it. I haven't done any edits to it, but I've got some mixer stuff which I'll show later on. I've got brightness. I use this as my lead octave to make it sort of like a small fall, more like symphonic. Because my main inspiration for this music is Dematory, who is a Toho metal cover band. They're fucking amazing. They're speechless every time I listen to their music. It's quite insane. They use instruments like this in a sense, so some artificial, but they also use piano as well. I have piano. I've got the Maverick. Yeah, brightness uses effects. Piano, Maverick. I made my own tone a while ago. There's a song called Dreaming from East Chronicles. You say it? There's an album called The Collected something. The Collective. And it's a really good song. It's very 80s. The piano sounds incredible, and that's why I got this piano. The VST. Cost me a lot. I managed to sort of replicate the tone, and it sounds pretty damn good, even with other tones. Like, I've got different setups. Yeah, that's just how it sounds. Yeah, good run it from pattern. And if I change the velocity, it just makes a variation. Yeah, I really like Maverick. It's pretty good. It's better than FL keys, which I used to use. Dear God. I've made a scuffed dreaming tone, which sounded like Castle. It sounded like Castle to me. And I tried a Fuse Man, which is, for anyone unaware, there's a track from Mega Man 11? Not for 10 or 11. But it had a really cool sort of basic piano sound, which sounded just incredible. It's one of the songs that sort of gives me chills every now and then. It is a very quiet one though. It needs a high velocity and volume. It's meant to sound better like AC tones, like low fucking notes. Yeah. I'm quite happy with that. It's one of my better purchases as well. These are all part of presets in the Oxen Cityscape. I can't pronounce it for some reason. Obviously, I tend to use the second one, I think. That just sounds better. Next is the organ. I use Direct Wave, and I have a bunch of these instruments from DSK, I think they're called, and they did like a pack a while ago. Like hundreds of instruments that cost £10 or something. And they've served me quite well since. They're actually pretty damn good, most of these. Like flute is pretty good as a solo instrument, so is like the saxophone, I think. Things you wouldn't expect. But the organ is pretty good as well. Next is acoustics. These are interesting because I couldn't really find a good acoustic guitar thing, and I'm thinking of looking for another one. I couldn't get used to these like buttons here. These are all confusing as fuck. There's just different things wrong with it, but they get the job done in a sense. I can use the keyboard to play this. Yeah, so it's good enough, but it's not perfect. I've heard Planet Caravan, I use the presets for most of the stuff because I'm not good with tones. What's this default? It's supposed to be Stairway to Heaven. Also not going to save it. Yeah. It works as a rhythm though. Next is acoustic bass. This is from DSK Sounds, I think, again. It's nothing special. I don't use it often actually because I prefer like the clean bass. It sort of works better, more fuller, and also acoustic bass is just it's got more of a punch to it that it just doesn't make it sound like import from album score or just whatever I found on the web. It works, and I just use it as like a way to sort of learn songs, learn how they work and what notes I need and whatnot. And similar with audio here, on the exit track to get that over and done with. Audio is just a similar thing. It's just the actual song covering, or if I need to sort of take a sample or get inspiration, I'll use that. And I route it via the mixer. Also, I forgot to show the group filters. I've ended up mixing all these to one thing, because like whenever I created something it just got annoying. It'd appear here on instruments, so as like a measure to make everything sorted properly, I put a right click and it's audio bass, synchronize this in alphabetical order. It gets really annoying, so I did that. And then I ordered everything into each thing: bass, brass, brace, clean chorus, lead, whatever. And also the way I did that, because there's a weird thing with the sorting system, I think I just clicked one. I forgot how I did it actually, but there's a way to select all of them and group them to a thing. I don't know how I did it. I think I did it here actually. Yeah, just grab them, right click, group selected, and then make a group name. I don't know, hell, heck, hell, same thing. That's in hell now. But yeah, there's a filter groups. Thought that'd be interesting. Finally, we get onto the I don't know, like the topping, which is basically the mixer. I don't think there's really anything special on this. I don't use any fancy effects for these two here, master and channel. I wish channel would just stick to master because that's really annoying when I'm editing music. I also switch between waveform and all this. I'll show quick. If we want an instrument that doesn't have automations, piano. What's that playing? Oh yeah, because I've muted it. So yeah, I use that to do balancing. It's quite a handy little feature because sometimes this doesn't tell the entire thing. But sometimes it'll peak at times and I need to figure out what's doing it and I'll have to edit EQ or the volume or something. Yeah. Almost orange. song that plays when you die. Let's say that's just too high of a volume. There we go. If that's not too loud for you. Didn't check that. So the oranges are there, I'm gonna have to fix that somehow, other than turning that down. Let's say it's like this by default. I'll do something like velocity change. That's much better. There's no peaking, nothing. So yeah, that's the tour of the fucking mixer. Finally, let's get onto the instruments. Leads, I have EQ, delay, reverb. I will create automations of these by default if I need to. But I just don't have any fit because I want to sort of lower my load on the CPU, as you see at the top there. Also memory. EQs I'll show briefly. I'll go into how I mix them, why. I don't know how to mix EQs, let's be honest. The attached up one is the same. Lead 2, I didn't have anything fancy on it. I may add it when I do the song. It depends. I didn't do it much on the EQ, I don't know why I did that. Maybe sound, because it's like a harmony track, so it doesn't need much muting. Rhythms, interesting ones. I've got the HeavierFX here, I'll go through that briefly. I'll use the Force March tone, because that's my favourite. I lowered the low gain on it, because that seems to be peaking stuff. For some reason it's got a weird bug as well, in the actual... It will just randomly peak at the lower notes. I've no idea why. Rhythm EQ is the same for both of them, by the way. Just do this, I'll dive in there. Basically it looks like a person underneath a cover or something. That's metal as fuck. Bye. Clean chorus, similar thing. And then I've got the HeavierFX, use the Asylum tone, I think it's called. Of course, I don't name it. I think it's the Asylum tone. A bass, EQ. I've got a bit weird here because I found it's too bassy at this end, so I sort of lowered it a bit. And also, I'm not using the higher end much, so I might as well mute that. This also gives it room, from what I know of the mixing stuff and EQ, mastering even. Got drums, I won't have reverb on by default because it does take up a lot of EQ space. But I did EQ a bit just to fix things out, so it's just always inaudible. Synth sustain, similar to the leads, I think there. I think it's the same for all of them, yeah, except for woodwinds and brass. The woodwinds would be a higher octave, so it wouldn't need much on the whatever end. Brass, it can go both ways, so I've just put a dip in each part there. It still sounds fine. That was a bit more fun actually. Bells, didn't do much for this, I don't think. No. I've got a reverb and delay on there for extra effect. I probably should put a stereo shaper. Stereo shaper for instruments that can't really be double tracked. It does work in a sense. I'll try that out quick. Let me delete everything here. Bells on. A bit higher. Sounds better like the C5 range. A lot higher than that as well. Just sounds a bit more fuller. I feel that more in my ears than without, so it's probably worth it. Brightness, I did a bit of things too. I mainly tried to get out the whistling sounds. Yank, I forgot about that, the in-joke piano. So when I think that's the first time I was ever making a piano sort of track. I basically removed like the what was it? No, it's when I was renaming it actually. It's just a mistake I made when I tried to press O. I pressed K instead, and I was like, oh, okay. I'll just leave it at that, and then I just did that for every other fucking thing since. So every fucking song I've made, it has piank. It's just fucking stupid. But it works though. Yeah, nothing interesting on there. It's similar to brass. It works both ways. Very sparkle. It's mainly at the higher end that needs a bit of muting because how bright it sounds. Organ, similar thing. Acoustics, I don't know if I didn't edit them. It doesn't really need editing, to be honest, because they're somewhat empty. I also use stereo shaper on them. Gives them the filler sound as well. Don't think there's anything on this either. Yeah, so that's the mixer. These three are for like jamming and stuff. If I ever feel like I'm stuck on something really badly, I'll just pick up a guitar or bass, whatever, and try to track out like the rhythm or whatever I'm sort of struggling with. Got like a tone there that's free. Got the FX on there. Same note things. Try what's March and that one it should be. Yeah. But that's the tour of my instruments, but I'll go into what a track looks like now. Right, so here's my cover of Scourge of the Universe by DM Guru. Yeah, this one's quite interesting actually because I did so much on it. So I split everything into sections first, and I'll show what that sounds like first. I get copyrights for this because for some reason it's got like not uploaded the original. Go into the later section. Sort of the bridge breakdown, but it's short audio that happened for us simple stuff for us crash. I love this bit of the track. It's a bit off actually. Really good. Anyway, I'll go through this stuff first. I won't do anything in the mixer. I forgot to show you one thing. When I'm making a track like this and I need to look at the notes, I have this open usually, or whatever guitar, and I have it detached. This way it stays open, and this way I can do all the editing. I have it on my other monitor. Also have the mixer on the other monitor. So like, if I want to edit lead here, I could just go into whatever fucking automation intro. Like, I don't like how it sounds on this fret, so I'll just change it to another. This is the real usage of it. It's on the 12th fret at the moment. Let's go octave higher. Octave, string high. It does sound a bit different. I could even go higher than that, go to the 23rd fret. On the G string. It sounds different each time. Usually like the thicker the string, I think it's better, but it's got different users. Weirdly mixed in that sense. Sometimes it sounds more and sometimes it sounds less depending on where you place it. It's very odd on guitar, and I know from playing it as well. If you play a harmony chord from here, I can use the keys. No, not on these, what the hell? Okay. Like that. Sound different on each string. But I guess the best way to describe it's like cutting and thumping. So the higher you go, the more cutting it is. The lower you go, the more thumping it is. Yeah, I think that's a way to describe it. Anyway, these tracks, there's a lot going on. I tend to do edits as I go along, as I said. I've got the tempo change here only because of the acoustic bridge I did later on. This one is after the solo. Yeah. The delay is for the lead guitar, I've got to say that. I forget to label them sometimes. It doesn't get confusing because I don't really have many. I've got one for the lead hashtag one here. I think, yeah, that's why it's in the group. I've also got like the tapping technique you can use here. The one annoying thing I have about FL Studio is when you click on the patterns and it just goes to this pattern, like, I can't edit the thing now. I have to go back and click it. It's really frustrating. I hope there's a way to fix that. I'll see if you know. Please tell me. Lead to rhythm. I do try to change it as I go along. As I said, I have the VST open whilst I make them. So I do try to make it sound realistic. Because I do actually play guitar, I'm just not very good at it. Bass is similar, I don't really do much on them. The most interesting bass track was actually Player on the other side, which is when I first used this instrument template. These synths are nothing interesting, as I said, I use flat stuff most of the time. Yeah, I think I'll show you the actual sort of workflow. So if I do something blank, I have like the audio stuff and the MIDI stuff, and I'll just mute them so I sort of learn the track. It should start playing. No? That's because I muted it in the mixer. This is the audio, and this is the MIDI. The MIDI is actually Anthem score transcribing it. It's an AI thing. It's actually a very ancient AI, I think, before AI became popular. I was using this as well. But the MIDI does transcribe quite well. Not perfect, but it does work. I'll show that actually in action. Track, current pattern, yeah. So it spews all these random notes all over the place when it gets complicated. But it works. That's the thing though, because sometimes I'm stuck on learning the chord shapes, and this really helps. I've been transcribing music for a while actually, and people might know this. I used to make custom DLCs for a game called Orchestra 2014. I was apparently very good at it. I don't know how I became that sort of status. I don't know. People just tended to praise like the transcribing and stuff and how correct the notes were. But I wasn't very good at like tones and stuff. I was good at testing it as well, and that was the other thing. So I tested every aspect. But I used to make transcribe music myself, learn it myself, and put it into tabs. I made hundreds of them. And that's how I sort of came on to composing music myself. I've mainly transcribed inventory. Anyway, let's go into another thingy here. So the MIDI track. This is like the strange sort of arpeggio bit, is it? I think it's arpeggio. So I need to transform this into what I made it into. Also need to add my spin with this sort of what I do. My music, it's my sort of style. I like having these harmonious chords. And sometimes there's some that sound dissonant. Like Periphery sometimes does this in their music. There's like a dissonant sort of sounding thing. Their chords. It just sounds amazing. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? The pitch. I do edit pitch for like sliding and bends, and also sliding away. That's how I get that sound. Drums, I do variation in, if you're wondering. I do velocity changes for pretty much all of it, just to make it sound more realistic. I had trouble balancing the drums in this actually, because This will do the waveform. The orange bits here are bad, the yellow bits are fine, the orange is bad. The drums are the main culprit. But as you know, things on, it starts to get more yellow and hot orange, and also the ribbons don't help. So keep there. Yeah, the more it goes on, the more noisy it gets. It's a very hard sort of thing to do. Yeah, I did violin, I have Stradavari Violin. I go through the mixer thing, mixer pattern thing here quick. I did use clean chorus, it's back up here. A key change. Bass, brass, nothing interesting. And yeah, I used Stradavari Violin. I got this a while ago and I never really found a use for it. When I was making this cover, I realised in this intro it didn't sound too unique, so I added a violin to sort of make it sound a bit different. Like I said, yeah. It sounds different to the actual synth itself. It adds an effect to a certain extent though. It's not loud enough, it does work. You just have to make it louder. Yeah, and sometimes I'll do the staccato, or spiccato, however you say it, with like the brass and woodwind. Yeah, I think this is one of my proudest covers though. It's got a lot going on and it just works, to be honest. I won't say it's as good as the original, but it just works. Also, like the key changes were interesting because I had to sort of make the chromatic bits fit. They didn't sound right when the key changing. Also, to do that with Control A, Lot 3, I can even do it for this now. I'll just do it for some of them. Did it for panels, brightness, brass, isn't it? I'll do it for one of them for some reason. Yeah, sometimes there's this bug where I've done the staccato, it for some reason transfers even when it's changed. I don't know why that doesn't sound right. Look at this. What happened there? But yeah, it's just hard to do a key change. I tend to experiment though sometimes if it doesn't sound right. I want it to sound good. If I did it 2 notes higher, it wouldn't have sounded as good as it does. If I did it 3 notes, because sometimes it leads to like a sharp key or even minor or whatever. I don't know the actual terms, I don't know much music theory at all. I just know I can memorise some notes in a scale and that works when I do covers. Yeah, that's why. Did it work? 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Yeah, that's everything for this. Oh yeah, interesting fact. I struggled with the tempo for a long time and couldn't figure out why it just wouldn't work, because I wanted to change it to fit the song, and sometimes Anthem School transcribes it wrong. Puts the tempo what? No, the tempo out of sync. So where it's 190 here, it'd say it's like 180 in there. I don't get why it does that. It's like it didn't count or anything. But it sometimes sticks it like this, what it does actually. When I put the file, so it's like stuck at the tempo. I can't change it, but it does change now. the way to fix it is to Control A, mid event, Control A in this fleet. And you can switch the tempo freely. But damn, it does it. What the fuck? What's going on? It wasn't like that. I think that sometimes does it, yeah. It's because there's an automation, that's why. Oh, maybe not. I don't know what's going on there, actually. Bit weird. That's a general bug, though, when you import a MIDI. When I import it. I forgot to explain the color coding. I've basically color coded everything because it makes it easier to sort of read. Except for these bits, obviously. I'll do it for the sections because it shows me on the section I need to jump to. It's sort of easier to locate it. Because if it's one colour all the time, it's going to be hard to see, and reading it also takes time. I know, like the darker bits, I'm on the key change, but the mid purple bits, they're solos. The light purple bits, the first bits, first parts of the song. And it's similar with these techniques. It's just different every time. Yeah. That's the tour of the, I don't know what you call it, fucking gear. Yeah, thanks for watching that. We found that interesting. It's went on a bit longer than I thought. I just uploaded it, so there's no fancy editing or anything. I just thought people might be interested to see how I, believe it or not, that was a few months ago. But since putting it in, it sort of made a difference, made it sound better. Yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.